He grew up in apartheid South Africa, learned to survive in camps he called paramilitary Lord of the Flies. At 17, he fled to Canada alone. Today, he's sending rockets to Mars and changing the world with Tesla. At $424 billion, he's at the top of the world. Elon Musk didn't just become rich, he rewrote humanity's future. Tesla launched the electric vehicle revolution. SPACEX democratized the space age. STARLINK connected the world to the internet. NEURALINK made brain-computer interfaces real. But once he was a child growing up in the shadow of apartheid, constantly bullied, escaping his father's psychological violence. This is the incredible rise story from bullying to Mars, and it will show you that even the darkest past can be the foundation of the brightest future. June 28, 1971, Pretoria, South Africa. During the harshest period of apartheid, Elon Musk comes into the world, the child of a wealthy white family. His father, Elon Musk, is an electromechanical engineer and property developer. He has shares in an emerald mine. His mother, Musk, is a model and dietitian. The family is very wealthy. They live in one of Pretoria's biggest houses, 5 luxury cars, a truck, a boat, a plane, but money doesn't bring happiness. Apartheid South Africa is a brutal white supremacist regime. Racism is protected by law. The black population is systematically oppressed. As a white South African child, I lived a neo-colonial life, with servants bustling around, Elon says years later. But there's violence within the family too. When Elon is 9 years old, he sees his father being violent toward his mother. This also largely defined who I became, he writes in his memoir. In 1979, when Elon is 8, his parents divorce. Elon makes a difficult decision. He wants to live with his father, because his father has the Britannica Encyclopedia and a computer. He will deeply regret this decision. Elon's father, Elon Musk, is not just an engineer, but a man who inflicts psychological violence. Dad wasn't a bully, but he was very tough, Elon says. But the reality is much darker. ERROL constantly launches verbal attacks on both Elon and his mother. Elon and his siblings have to defend themselves. Their mother works long hours, the children have to fend for themselves. Dad would talk for a very long time, for hours, and that was very difficult, Elon says. ERROL's verbal attacks are relentless, every day, constantly, for months. Looking like his father is one of Elon's biggest fears, writes biographer Walter Isaacson, because there's something in psychology called repetition compulsion. A person who experiences childhood trauma unconsciously exhibits the same behaviors. Elon tries to break this vicious cycle, but it's not easy. At 10, he meets computers. He teaches himself programming from the VIC-20 user manual. At 12, he creates a game called Blastar and sells it to PC and Office Technology magazine for $500. His first entrepreneurial experience. But his real escape route, science fiction books, Lord of the Rings, the Foundation series, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, these books show him alternative worlds, give him hope. At 12, Elon is sent to South Africa's mandatory wilderness camp, VELDSKOOL. He describes this camp as paramilitary Lord of the Flies. All white children are required to attend these camps, part of the apartheid regime. But what Elon describes is much more brutal. At camp, children are given very little food and water. Then they're encouraged to fight each other. Bullying was considered a virtue, says his brother Kimball. They divide the children into 2 groups and make them attack each other. Insane, unbelievable, Elon says about this experience. Camp administrators threaten them with death. Don't be like that stupid kid who died last year. Don't be a weak fool. 12-year-old Elon is small, emotionally awkward, and introverted. He has to survive in this environment. But by his second camp, everything has changed. He's nearly 16, 6 feet tall, strong, knows judo. That's when I realized that if someone bullies me, I can punch them very hard in the nose. Then they won't bully again, he says. This experience gives him a lifelong lesson: be strong or be crushed. School life is also hell. Elon first goes to Waterkloof House Preparatory School, then Bryanston High School. Because of Asperger syndrome, he can't understand social cues. Social signals weren't intuitive. I take everything literally, but then it would be wrong. People don't say exactly what they mean, he says. This causes him to be constantly excluded and bullied. At Bryanston High School, a terrible incident occurs. One morning during assembly, children cause disruption. Someone bumps into Elon. Elon pushes back. A verbal argument ensues. But it doesn't end there. Those kids corner Elon later. They attack him as a group. They throw Elon down the stairs, beat him severely. He spends 2 weeks in the hospital. When his father ERROL sees Elon, he doesn't recognize him. His face is so swollen. After this incident, they transfer Elon to Pretoria Boys High School. But this experience affects him deeply. School bullying is one of my biggest fears, he says years later. His escape from all these traumas, books and computers. The character Hari Seldon from the Foundation series affects him greatly. The psychohistory theory, the idea of predicting the future using mathematics. This sentence from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy changes his life. 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. But the real message, asking the right questions is more important than finding answers. Elon derives a mission from these books, spreading human consciousness to the stars. At 16, he makes a clear decision. He will go to America. Because America is the world's largest technology hub, inventors like Tesla and Edison lived here. But first, he needs to escape military service in the Apartheid army. Through his mother's Canadian citizenship, he gets a Canadian passport. In 1989, at 17, he goes to Canada alone. His family cries at the airport. Elon doesn't cry. He only looks forward. If I had stayed in South Africa, I would have had to do military service, and that would have meant supporting the apartheid regime, he says. In Canada, he first lives as if he has no relatives. He stays in hostels. He studies at Queen's University but has money problems. He has to find work. He does odd jobs. Cuts wood, works on a chicken farm, cleans drilling machines. Wood cutting was easy. The chicken farm was terrible, he says. But his goal is clear. Get to America as quickly as possible. In 1992, he transfers to America. To University of Pennsylvania, he gets a double degree in physics and economics. In America, he also struggles with money. He rents out his house as a club and throws parties, making money this way. In 1995, he starts a PhD at Stanford, but he only goes for 2 days. Because the internet revolution is beginning, he doesn't want to miss this opportunity. Internet, clean energy, and space, these are the 3 areas that will change the future, he says. And he drops out of Stanford to jump into entrepreneurial life. In 1995, he founds Zip2 with his brother Kimball. Online maps and directions service. The early days of the internet. They live in a small office. They go to the YMCA to wash. They work 18-20 hours a day. I had 1 monitor. Kimball had 1 monitor. I coded the website at night. He handled sales during the day, Elon says. In 1999, Compaq buys Zip2 for $307 million. Elon's share, $22 million. He becomes a millionaire in his 20s. But he has no intention of stopping. The same year, he founds X.com, an online payment system. Then they merge with Peter Thiel's Confinity company. PayPal is born. In 2002, eBay buys PayPal for $1.5 billion. Elon's share, $180 million. Now he's very rich. But for him, money is just a tool. What am I going to do with this money? He wonders. The answer is clear. Make humanity a multiplanetary species. In 2001, Elon makes a crazy plan. Send a greenhouse to Mars. The Mars Oasis project, to increase public interest in space exploration. He goes to Russia trying to buy rockets, but the Russians disrespect him and ask for very high prices. On the plane back, he decides he'll build his own rocket. In 2002, he founds SPACEX. He invests most of his PayPal money in this company. Goal: reduce rocket costs by up to 10 times. How? By making reusable rockets. Everyone calls it crazy. Even NASA approaches with skepticism, but Elon is determined. Because he's been dreaming of going to Mars since childhood. I want to be excited about the future when I wake up, he says. The first 3 rocket attempts fail. Money runs out. In 2008, he almost goes bankrupt. But the 4th attempt succeeds. Falcon 1 reaches space. SpaceX makes history, the first private company to reach space with a liquid-fueled rocket. In 2003, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning found Tesla Motors. In 2004, Elon leads Tesla's Series A investment round. He invests $6.35 million. He becomes the majority shareholder and chairman of the board. Goal: make electric vehicles mainstream. Accelerate the sustainable energy future is the mission. But Tesla almost doesn't survive. Roadster production is delayed. There are quality problems. When the 2008 financial crisis comes, Tesla almost goes bankrupt. Elon becomes CEO and keeps the company afloat with his own money. He divides all his wealth between Tesla and SpaceX. In 2012, the Model S comes out. Consumer Reports selects it as best overall car. In 2020, Tesla becomes the world's most valuable automotive company. In 2021, its market value exceeds $1 trillion. Today, Tesla is the leader of the electric vehicle revolution. Elon doesn't stop with just cars and rockets. NEURALINK, 2016, brain-computer interface company, offers paralyzed patients the ability to control computers with thought. The Boring Company, 2016, aims to solve city traffic by digging underground tunnels. STARLINK, 2015, SpaceX's satellite internet project, connects the world to the internet with 7,600 plus satellites. xAI, 2023, AI company to rival ChatGPT. Each project is the realization of Elon's childhood science fiction dreams. The future from the books I read as a child is here, he says. In 2022, he buys Twitter for $44 billion, rebrands it as X. He wants to make it the digital town square of free speech. 2025 net worth, $424 billion. Wealth distribution. Tesla stock, 58%. $245 billion. SpaceX stock, 42%. $147 billion. xAI stock, $35 billion. X, Twitter, $8 billion. Other investments, $15 billion. 2024. Firsts. First person to exceed $400 billion. Wealth increased 77% after Trump's election. More than $100 billion ahead of the world's second richest person. SpaceX achievements, 400-plus rocket launches. First private company to send crew to ISS. Reusable rocket technology. 4+ million STARLINK subscribers. Tesla achievements, electric vehicle market leadership, autonomous driving technology, energy storage systems, $1+ trillion market value. In 2024, he donates $280+ million to Trump's election campaign. After Trump's victory, he becomes head of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Now he's not just a businessman, but political power. Mission to reduce federal spending and simplify bureaucracy. Future plans. Mars colony, first crewed Mars mission in 2029. Starship, giant rocket to carry passengers to Moon and Mars. Robotaxi, fully autonomous taxi network. Humanoid robots, daily life assistance with Tesla Bot, making humanity a multiplanetary species. Mission continues. Secrets of Elon Musk's success. First lesson, turn trauma into power. Bullying and violence made me stronger. It didn't teach me to give up. Second lesson, make your difference an advantage. Asperger's syndrome forced me to think differently. This increased my creativity. Third lesson, solve big problems. Climate change, space travel, artificial intelligence. Deal with problems that affect humanity's future. Fourth lesson, think from first principles. Don't copy what exists. Start from basic physics laws and create solutions. Fifth lesson, be obsessive. If you really care about something, neglect even sleeping, eating, socializing. Sixth lesson, learn and adapt quickly. Rocket engineering, neurobiology, artificial intelligence. Constantly enter new fields. What does Elon Musk's story teach you? That child who was bullied in South Africa is now shaping humanity's future. That child who tried to survive in apartheid camps is now planning to colonize Mars. That child who escaped his father's psychological violence is now giving hope to millions. How is this possible? Because he turned his trauma into mission, because he made his difference his strength, because he chose to create solutions instead of complaining, because he decided to be the architect of the future instead of being a prisoner of his past. And you can too. Whatever trauma you're fighting, whatever bullying you're facing, whatever family problems you're experiencing, remember, Elon Musk was also just a child. A scared, lonely, traumatized child, but he decided to write his own destiny. In Elon's words, I want to be excited about the future when I lie in bed at night. So what are you excited about? What big problem will you solve? What is your Mars mission? Like Elon, you too can transform your traumas into vision, because the darkest past can be the fuel for the brightest future. And each of you has that power. Believe. Think big. Never give up. Your Mars mission starts now. From the shadows of your past to the stars of your future.